if you want to execute a particular script, you should be satisfying certain conditions in order to activate that script. For example, if you have a restaurant script, the preconditions for activating that restaurant script would be that the customer is hungry and he is having some money, right? So these two are the conditions for entering into a restaurant, right? So these are the entry conditions for activating the restaurant script. Then the tracks. Tracks is basically some particular specific instance of a more general name. For example, for a restaurant script, the tracks could be a coffee shop, a food court, a burger outlet, ice cream parlor, etc. So basically, these are basically specific variations on a more general name, that is a restaurant script. Then result is post conditions of the script. So when you execute that script, what is the result? For example, when you execute the restaurant script, the result would be that the customer is. So when you execute the restaurant script, your result would be that the customer is pleased and he has got less money because he has given some money to the hotel owner, right? So these are the result. Then the props. Props are basically the things involved in the script, the inactive participants of the script. For example, if you say the restaurant script, your props would be menu, the table, the chair. All these are things involved in the restaurant. So they will be the props. Then roles. Roles are basically the people involved in the script. For example, in the script, the people involved would be a customer who is hungry, who goes to the restaurant, then the waiter who brings the food, then the cook, or you can say the chef who prepares the food, and then the cashier. So these are the roles. Then scenes. Scenes are the actual sequence of events which are present in the script. So these are the events which occur in the script. That means the various stages of the script. For example, in a restaurant script, the scenes would be entering the restaurant, then ordering something, then eating something, then paying the bill. All these are the actions involved in this restaurant script. So these are called as the scenes. And scenes will represent in a conceptual dependency notation. So basically, all the events involved in the script as scenes, they will be represented in the form of a conceptual dependency notation, which you have already done. So every sentence which forms an event, that will be represented in a CG format. These are the 6 components of a script. Now let us take an example of a cricket match script. So somebody is going to watch a cricket match, right? So the script name is a cricket match. We have named it as a cricket match. And then the track is a stadium. Basically, the more specific name of a cricket match, we're calling it as a stadium. Then the roles, that means the people involved in the cricket match script would be the spectator who is going to view the game, then the ticket seller who is going to sell the tickets for the viewing the game, ticket checker who will allow the entry into the stadium based on checking the tickets, then the snack seller who is basically some refreshments are given in between, so that is a selling shop for selling the snacks, so snack sell. So these will be the different people involved in the cricket match script. And then the things involved in the script, that means the props. So props would be a stub. Stub means basically your ticket for getting the entry. Then fries means your snacks item. Then seat you need to sit and watch. Then bucks, money you need to buy the ticket. And then chart. Chart is basically your name is there or not, or you can say your score chart of the different teams. So these are the different things involved in the cricket match script. So these form your props. Then entry condition for this cricket match script. So entry condition means that the conditions for activating this cricket match script. So the customer should have money, otherwise he cannot buy the ticket for viewing the script. So the script cannot be activated. So the first precondition is customer has money, and the second is he or she has interest to watch the match. If he is willing to watch the match, then only he will go to the cricket match. Right? So then only the cricket match script will get activated. So the first thing is customer should have money, and the second thing is he or she should have interest to watch the match. So these are the preconditions for activating the cricket script. So we have 5 things now. The script name is cricket match, track is stadium. Then we have some people involved, spectator, ticket seller, ticket checker, snack seller. Then we have some things involved like the stubs, fries, seat, then money, and then the scoreboard, or you can see the chart. And then we have some entry conditions. Now the main thing apart from these 5 components of a script is the scenes. This means the actual sequence of events which will occur when we are going to watch a cricket match. So let us see what are the scenes involved here. So these are the different scenes in the cricket match script. Let us see them one by one. Scene 1, entering into the stadium, right? So first of all, the person will enter into the stadium, then he will enter into the main ticket check gate. So we have created a scene number 2 for entering into the main ticket checking gate. Then a scene number 3 for entering into the stadium. So first of all, that person or the customer will enter the stadium, then he will go to the ticket checking lane. He'll buy the ticket, go to the ticket checking lane. Then after he gets the clearance from the ticket check, he will enter the stadium, right? And then in between the game, he can order some fries or something. So that we have created another scene, scene number 4. And then finally he will exit, right? So so for these main events, we have created different scenes, and in each scene you have the sub events. Okay, so let's see the first scene, entering into the stadium. So S, first of all, S is your, what is S? Just see the notations. S is your spectator, T is your ticket seller, TE is your ticket checker, and SN is your snack seller. So S P trans S into the stadium. This is that S means your spectator. So spectator has P trans S. That means he is going, right? S P trans S. So that means subject and object are the same person, which is spectator. So that means spectator is moving itself. P trans means transfer of the physical location of an object. But here the object is the spectator itself. So that means spectator is moving itself. That means it is going. Where it is going? Into the stadium, right? So main thing what we have written here is what is the main primitive that is used over here, and what is the action, right? So S is your main thing we have written, and then the remaining part of the sentences we have written it normally. Okay, so the remaining part of the sentence we have written normally, like S P trans S in stadium, but actually you can represent it in a proper conceptual dependency notation. So a proper conceptual dependency notation would be, you have to use the symbols which you have already studied. Using those 14 rules of conceptual dependency, you have to represent this sentence that S is entering into the stadium or S is going into the stadium. So we have written it in a bit semi-formal way, or you can say a semi-conceptual dependency representation. So we have used only the main things are the primitive actions which we have represented, and we have entered the subject and object explicitly. The remaining sentence is a normal sentence, but actually you can convert it into a proper CD representation by creating a proper symbolic form using those 14 rules, right? So SP trans into the stadium means that S goes into the stadium. Then SP trans S to the step counter. That means S is going to the step counter now. So first of all, S goes to the stadium, spectator goes to the stadium, then spectator goes to the step counter, and then S attend eyes towards the step counter. So basically he is looking at the step counter now. So the primitive action for looking is basically attend. So that is why we have used, we have marked that the primitive action would be attend, and the subject is your spectator and the object is the eyes. So S attend eyes towards the step counter. So he sees towards the step counter now. Now he is looking towards the ticket chart. So that chart was actually ticket chart. It was not the score chart. It was a ticket. So basically S is now looking towards the ticket chart. This is what you normally do. You'll go to the stadium, you'll go to the ticket counter, then you will see over the ticket counter that what is the prices and what seat you should choose, which seats are free. Those choices you make by looking at the ticket chart, right? So S attend eyes towards the ticket chart, and that means he's looking at the ticket chart. And then S build which seat to choose. So M build is basically a primitive action for basically deciding something. If you remember the primitive actions, you will see that what primitive action is associated here. The M build is building new information out of old. Example, deciding. So for decide, we use M build. So that we have used M. So SM build seat to choose. So basically he is deciding which seat to choose. Then SM trans T for stub. M trans is the primitive action for telling, transfer of mental information. M trans means transfer of mental information. So S is telling T, T is the ticket checker. S tells T for stub. Okay. Then S A trans bucks to T because he has to give the money to the ticket checker. Otherwise, he'll not give the ticket. So for getting the tickets, he has to give the money. So first of all, he's telling the ticket for ticket, and then he is giving the bucks to the ticket checker, and then ticket checker is giving the stub to S. Right. So his A trans is basically giving. It can also mean it depends upon the source and recipient of A trans action. So A trans is a primitive action which can also mean giving or taking. It depends upon the source and recipient. So here the source is spectator. Sorry, the source is spectator and the recipient is ticket checker. So that means he is giving. And the next line ticket checker is giving because ticket checker is the source. Okay, so when you represent it in the CD representation where you have the source and recipient explicitly marked, at that time you will understand that which is the source and which is the recipient. So at that time you will understand that what is the A trans meaning in that particular sentence. So the overall here, the steps which we have represented is he's gone to the stadium, he's gone to the ticket counter, then he's looking towards the ticket counter, then he's looking towards the ticket chart, then he's deciding which seat to choose, then he's asking for tickets from the ticket checker, from the ticket seller, and then he's giving money to him, and the ticket seller is giving the stub or the ticket to spectator. So after the end of this scene, he has got the tickets basically. So now scene number 2, entering into the main ticket checking gate. So SP trans S into the line for entry. So he's going into the line for entry now. Then TE attend eyes on stub. TE is your ticket checker. T was ticket seller, TE is ticket checker. So ticket checker is looking stub now. Then TE embilled to give permission to S for entering into the stadium or not. So TE embilled means TE means ticket checker. He is embilled means deciding. So ticket checker is deciding to give permission to a spectator for entering into the stadium. Now once he has decided, so SP trans S into the cricket stadium. So that means he is going to the cricket stadium. He got the permission. So that means he is able to enter into the cricket stadium now. So this completes our scene number 2. Then scene number 3 is entering into the stadium. So S first of all attend eyes into the seats. He's looking towards the seat. The ticket checker is speaking that he's telling here is the seat. Then S is going towards that sitting position. So SP trans S towards the sitting position, and then he is seated. So he's seated properly. So he is attending his eyes on the field. So he is now looking at the match, right? So S attend eyes on the field. So this is basically your scene number 3. Where he basically entering into the stadium and he's sitting at the particular seat which he got, and then he is watching the match. Then in between he is ordering fries, so that is why we have created another scene for that. Scene number 4, ordering fries. So SM trans SN for fries. SN is your snacks person, snack seller. So M trans is telling. So S, that means the spectator. So spectator is telling snacks person for fries. The snacks person A trans fries to S. That means giving fries to spectator. Then S A trans bucks to this because he has to give money in return. So he's giving bucks to a snacks person, and then after paying he is eating. So S ingests the fries. So all these things are over. Now he is exiting. So last scene, scene number 5. So S is attending eyes onto the ground. He is watching the match till the end of the match. Now when the match has ended, he will decide when to go out of the stadium. So S embilled when to go out of the stadium, and then finally he is going out. So SP trans S out of the stadium. So he is finally going out of the stadium. So basically this is the exiting event, right? So he's deciding now I want to, and then finally he is leaving, right? So these are all the events, or you can say the sub events involved in a particular scene, and all scenes are the main events which are involved in this script. Okay, so every scene will have its sub events, and each sub event is nothing but one sentence in a natural language. Therefore, every natural language sentence you can represent it in a semi-formal notation like this, where we have just specified the primitive action and the subject and object in a CD representation, but other things we have written in a normal sentence. But actually you create a CD representation for each of these sentences also. But otherwise, if you write like this, it's a semi-formal notation. So that's fine for a script, because in script, our main focus is not convert into a CD representation. Our main focus is basically that we want to relate the events together in order to answer certain questions which are not obvious, which are not explicitly mentioned in a story. So that is a different purpose of a script. So that is why we are not very concerned about how do we convert each sentence into a CD representation, because that we already know, right? So this is also okay, but if you convert it into CD, each sentence, that is also good. So after these scenes are over, the result would be the spectator is happy and he has less money. So these are the two post conditions or the result of the script. First condition is spectator is happy, and the other thing is he has got less money. So he started with spectator. We started with the entry condition as he has money and he has interest to watch the match, and the post condition was he is happy and he has got less money. So basically, we have got the script name, the track, the roles, the props, entry conditions and results, and finally we have the scenes. Okay, and basically result comes in the end, but the most important thing which is very important in a script is the scene. Okay, and the definition of the scenes, or you can say the events involved in scenes. That is very important thing in a case of a script. So this is basically you have to see what all sub events can be involved in a script, and this is a very subjective thing because everyone can formulate their own events in a different way. So they will have different representations and different conceptual dependency representations accordingly, right? So that is fine, but still we go to the minutest details whatever possible, and we try to explain each and every sub event, main events explicitly in a script. So for example, this is the script for a cricket match watching. So it contains all the minute details about what happens next when you have a particular scene, what happens after that. So each and every event is basically causing the other event, right? So event is basically the reason for the other event. So they are all in sequence. One event is there, then the other event, then the third event. They are all happening in a sequential manner, and they are related to each other. So this is the main concept of scripts. We are basically relating the events. We are basically relating the events. So the script, the cricket match watching script, it looks like this. Okay, so when you are given a particular script and we are asking you to write the script for that, then you have to basically write all these things. What are the track in that script? What are the roles in that script? Props, entry conditions, result, and the scenes you have to mention explicitly. If we ask you to write a script for a particular situation. So basically, what is the most important usage of scripts? Scripts are basically more useful than conceptual dependencies, because conceptual dependencies represent different natural language sentences, but scripts are basically linking the events in the natural language sentences. Okay, so there is always a causal relationship between the events that occur in a script. Okay, so one scene in a script causes another scene causes the third one, and so on. So always the events in a script are always related to each other, a causal relationship. Okay, so there's always an entry condition. This is also one important thing. If you want a script to get activated, there should be an entry condition which should be satisfied. Then only there will be the events in the script would be in motion. That means you will be able to activate that script. Okay, so entry condition is must to be satisfied. That means some prerequisites are there which are required for the script to get activated. And for each event also we have some prerequisites. So the prerequisites for each event in the scenes would be the scene, it would be the event just before it. So when the event just before it occurred, then only the next event can occur. So all these events are basically causally related to each other in a script. So that is very important, because the causal relationship between multiple events in a script, that causes us to divide to actually it has a very important advantage. So that important advantage I'll describe. You'll get to know in the later slides. But first of all, let us see another example, and through that example I'll tell you what is the advantage of this causal relationship between the events of a script. So let us see the restaurant script now, since I was talking about the restaurant script previously also. So let us see a restaurant script now. So the script name is restaurant, okay, and the track is a coffee shop because this is a more specific version, coffee shop. And the things involved in a restaurant would be the tables, menu, the food, the money, the check. Check means your check leaf, which you have, checkbook basically. Then money. So all these are the things involved in a hotel or in a restaurant, right? Then then you have basically, so then you have basically some people involved in the script. So people involved in the script would be customer, waiter, cook, cashier, and then finally the owner of the restaurant. So we have named them, we have sized them. Custom, customer is S, waiter we are indicated W, then cook is C, cashier is M, and owner is O. Okay. So till now we have identified the script name, the track, the props in the script, the roles in the script, then the entry conditions. So what will be the entry conditions? Restaurant script to get activated? The customer should be hungry. So S is your customer. So S is hungry, right? And S has money. So he should have money and he should be hungry. These are the two prerequisites for activating that script. So these form the entry conditions of our script. Then what will be the result? S will have less money because he has paid, and O is the owner of that restaurant, so he'll have more money, right? And S is not hungry because he didn't in the restaurant, so he's not hungry now and he's pleased. So that is optional thing, pleased or not, we don't know. If the food is bad, he may not be pleased also. So that is an optional result. So we have put it in bracket optional. Results after we go through this script completely. So after the events in the script are over. So these are the components of a script: the name of the script, track, props, roles, conditions, and results. Now let us come to the scenes, which is the most important thing in a script, right? So scene one is entering into the restaurant. Fine. So first of all, the person will, or customer, S is the customer. So S is going into the restaurant. So S P trans S into the restaurant. Okay. He's going means transferring of physical location. So P transfer that, and the object is S. So that means he is himself walking or going. So going into the restaurant, then S attend eyes to the table. So he's looking for the table. That's what you do in a normally in a restaurant. First of all, you enter, then you look towards the table, then you decide where you should sit, right? So he's attending his eyes to the tables and then he's deciding where to sit. So SM build where to sit. Then he is decided, so he'll go to that place. So SP trans table. So that means that S is going to the table now. After deciding where to sit, he is going to that place. So S going to the table, he is basically adjusting the chair. So S move S to the sitting position. So he is basically towards the chair, chair on which he wants to sit. So he's moving himself to sitting position. So he's adjusting the chair basically, right? So this is basically the thing which is entering into the restaurant. So this basically indicates that he'll enter into the restaurant and he'll see the table, he'll decide where to sit, then he'll go and sit. Okay. Now he is ordering two. So then he is ordering in scene two. Now there are two things. The menu might be there on the table or the menu might not be there on the table. So if menu is not there on the table, he'll ask the waiter to bring the menu, right? And if the menu is there on the table, he'll directly start ordering. He'll directly call the waiter to order, right? So we have taken both the things. First of all, let us assume that the menu is there on the table. So SP trans menu to S. SP trans menu to S, what does it mean? He's basically taking the menu towards himself, right? He's basically receiving the menu from the position where it is kept. Then after this, you have this line, and then this line is leading to another action. That means another event. S entrance W to table. I think students, we have to stop here because my phone's, the laptop's battery is going because electricity is still not come. And I think we have gone up till 25 minutes only. I started at 2:05. So remaining half an hour class I have to take in the evening today and complete this. We will complete the scripts topic. So what time suits you in the evening today? 4 o'clock is fine if light comes by that time. Is 4 o'clock okay with you all? Divya? Or otherwise, I'll talk to you on phone, Divya. Maybe ask the students about the timings for the evening, for evening today. I'll just take a half an hour class and finish off the scripts topic.